you've ever watched the show Friends and you get to that episode where Robin Williams and Billy Crystal just show up unexplained and do a scene that makes no sense and then leave, this movie is the reason for that. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and my ongoing quest to review every single movie Robin Williams has ever made. Please make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel for more of the Robin Williams downfall yet to come. This week, I'm looking at the 1997 comedy Father's Day, directed by Ivan Reitman, who also directed Ghostbusters 1 and 2, but nothing else good. Father's Day stars Robin Williams as Dale Putley, a suicidal, very emotional, goofy writer, also starring Billy Crystal and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Robin Williams and Billy Crystal had worked together on all the comic relief specials and briefly in Hamlet as well, although they weren't on screen together. They had been longtime friends and comedy partners, and this was the first attempt to get them on screen in a comedy together, and it does not work very well. This woman that he had sex with 17 years ago in a very Mamma Mia type plot says that he is the father of her son who is missing. He also tells Billy Crystal that he is the father of her son who is missing. Both characters, Billy Crystal's character's name is Jack. He's like a stick-in-the-mud lawyer. Robin Williams is the foil to that. They go on this road trip looking for the son, and it's just a very classic like road trip comedy of errors. Just very mediocre is honestly the best thing I can say about it. Like I said, the movie was made for them to play the leads together. Robin was not necessarily eager to do this movie, but he did do it out of loyalty to Billy Crystal. Around this point in his career, this is just before his Oscar win for Good Will Hunting, and at this point he was still torn between wanting to make films that were going to do him a lot of money and wanting to make films that were going to get him awards and be meaningful to him and like challenge him. Marcia, his wife, was at the time was still his manager as well. Basically every bad film that he had done in this period, she was like, maybe you shouldn't do that, and he did anyways. While on the set of Father's Day, Billy and Robin kind of had their own odd couple thing going on. In the David Skoff book, it said that Billy Crystal would bring food to set and Robin would walk up and just like pick off a piece with his fingers and eat it, and Billy would get upset and be like, no, I don't want that anymore. The thing that I said in my Hook review about Dustin Hoffman not wanting to go and greet fans, that's my bad. That was not Dustin Hoffman, that was Billy Crystal on the set of Father's Day. Robin was the one running to the side, like wanting to greet fans, wanting to take pictures and sign autographs, wanting to entertain extras, and Billy Crystal was like, I don't want to do that, but if I don't go over there and do that with him, I'm gonna look like the asshole. So there was tension. Billy Crystal also said it was not a great experience because the script was never really ready to shoot, but they just had to kind of keep pushing forward because of the schedule that everybody in the cast was on. In order to market Father's Day, they had Robin and Billy appear together on that episode of Friends in a very weird, it's so weird. They didn't even plug the film, they were just there. In college when I was watching Friends, watching that scene and being so thrown off by it. They also made an appearance on Jay Leno, and Jay Leno's quote on the film was, "It's so stupid, but it really works." And all the critics were like, I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't think it's straight up ass. There are moments of it that are enjoyable because it's two skilled comedians who are also such good friends off camera. You can tell that there is some level of thought and maybe just the slightest bit of enjoyment went into this. But from the start, the plot is just so infuriating because this woman tells these two men that she had sex with at one point that they are the father of her son, when that is not true, and she knows from the beginning it's not true. I mean, spoilers, but she's also been married to this other guy who is like the kid's actual father, and instead of just calling the police or anyone else when her son runs away to follow Sugar Ray on tour, yeah, that's the plot of it, he's following Sugar Ray on tour. Instead of doing anything logical, she reaches out to these two ex-boyfriends from her past and gets them to go on this crazy trip. And if most of the plot is just those kind of comedy of error situations where like you're trying to describe something over the phone and it sounds like something else is happening, like Robin's trying to shower off the drunk son and Billy's on the phone with his wife, who is a very underused Julia Louis-Dreyfus. They gave her nothing to do. She has like 3 scenes and she's boring in all of them. There's just a lot of odd couple type classic setups, a lot of chase scenes, somebody leaves where they're supposed to be right when somebody else gets there. And none of those setups really worked for me, or at all. They just didn't get a laugh. I could tell that they were trying to. There's a lot of the, like, Billy Crystal a lot of times goes, this is not good, or like, that went well. Like, it's very much that genre of comedy. The only moments that I really got genuine laughs, I wouldn't say they were laughs, but like smiles out of, there's like a scene where Robin and Billy are dancing together. There's just a couple of scenes where they were goofing off and having fun that I also enjoyed because I could tell that they were having fun, but I don't think that I ever like laughed out loud at any jokes that were made in this film. As the foils to each other, Billy Crystal's character is just like a very rigid, kind of unlikable dick whose job is the most important thing in his life, and Robin is a very overly emotional, like almost crazy flubber professor vibes already. He's suicidal at the beginning. He spends half the film weeping and passing out from anxiety. He's got a weird quirky trait where when he's driving the car, he'll just stop in the middle of the road and go, did I hit someone? And Billy Crystal's like, no, keep driving. And that does not pay off at all until at one point they accidentally hit the sun with the car, and I was like, okay, I don't think that all of that setup was worth it for that one joke. There is a very classic Robin does impressions montage where he puts on a bunch of different outfits and does different voices pretending to introduce himself to this kid. That doesn't really work because it's like so forced. It's like the scene from Mrs. Doubtfire, the I Do Voices scene from Mrs. Doubtfire, just repeated over and over again because they're like, this will work, and it really just doesn't. It seems like the character's only personality traits are being mentally unstable and being a bad driver. Mel Gibson has a brief random cameo that is very yikes. The son character is just a real dick at first, and then he comes around to liking the two guys. So, spoiler, at the end, when he is returned home, he tells both of them separately that he found out that they are his father, so he can keep them both in his life. And Billy Crystal is, because he's a lawyer, he's smart enough to be like, oh, I know he's lying to me, but he wants me to feel good. And then he goes home and decides he wants to have kids now. But Robin Williams' character is not going to have any idea. So, like, why would you do that to this very unhinged man? It's definitely not the worst of this type of comedy, or even the worst Robin Williams comedy I've watched so far. Like, it's not going to go on my worst list. It's just going to fall in that genre of, like, it's fine, if not sort of bad for what it is. I mean, it's a shame that with Robin Williams and Billy Crystal together that they couldn't give us anything that was better than this, because they could have given us something that was really good. And instead they just went with a very, like, by the numbers, very in almost every sense, comedy. And you get a funny lady in the cast with Julia Louis-Dreyfus and give her literally nothing to do. She's like just an angry bitch wife character in 3 scenes, and that's all she is. She's the angry bitch wife. They gave her no jokes, nothing else. Father's Day was a critical flop and a box office failure. It had a $35 million return on an $85 million budget. The Wall Street Journal called it a movie of implacable unfunniness, and the Rotten Tomatoes consensus, I think it's at like a 19%, something like that, calls it a maudlin misfire that makes both leads unfunny. Julia Louis-Dreyfus was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actress in this, which is crazy to me. But she lost to Alicia Silverstone in Batman and Robin, which is far more deserving. This was also the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards is coming coming back in. I've never heard of this before, and I've had to talk about it twice now. The Stinkers Bad Movie Awards nominated Father's Day for Most Painfully Unfunny Comedy. It didn't win that either. It's not the worst way I've spent an hour and a half so far, and it wasn't one of those hour and a half films that felt like it was 3. But it's not a movie that really added anything to the universe. It tried. It tried to give us more Robin Williams and Billy Crystal content, but it just didn't. I don't know. You can kind of tell that both of them don't really know what they're doing there either, especially Billy Crystal. Like, he looks like he is fed up the whole time. And I'm not sure where the line draws between his character and him actually just being really sick of being there. If you are interested in watching Father's Day for one reason or another, it is available to rent in all the usual places, you know, iTunes, YouTube, Vudu, Prime. Next week, I will be looking at a movie that also stars Robin Williams, Billy Crystal, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and is unfortunately a Woody Allen film. It's called Deconstructing Harry. I've never seen it, I don't know anything about it. I've never seen a Woody Allen film, and I'm sorry that I have to. And then after that, I've got Flubber and Good Will Hunting coming at you. So if you're not subscribed, like I said, please make sure that you are. Happy belated Father's Day to all you dads out there. I'm looking quite like a daddy myself. Okay. Yeah, that's how you know it's time to cut the clips.